Cole, check this out. Everyone thought I was cool having the boat wrap with nothing on it, but I gotta put this on in commemorative of one of my good buddies, Landon, that I fish tournaments with. His friend had these made. It's really random, but I thought it would be good to throw this on as my boat wrap for the year. I'm really pissed off, honestly, that I didn't get it on for the photo gallery for Bassmaster, and I can't get the sticker taken off. There it is. Yeah, this is my boat wrap for the year. We got a Landon Sucks. I suspect this will probably last the first 15 minutes of the first day. But I'm gonna put this sumbitch on here right. For those of you guys that remember watching the Ozark videos with Landon, he could easily be on the Elite Series as well. Hopefully he was someday with us. Yeah, his buddy that made me a custom A-rig. And then he's like, also, I gotta send you some of these stickers. I was like, all right, whatever. Didn't think anything of it. And then I got this in a package in the mail. Landon Sucks, with Landon smoking a cigarette. That's going to be our good luck this week, or until it falls off 15 minutes after I make my first run. Cole, is that, can we film?
That side. Yeah.
This side?
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Yep, there it is, right there. All right, what's up, MFers? Welcome to Lake Okeechobee. Stop number 2, Bassmaster Elite Series. Made the drive down from the St. Johns River today, and we are in frickin' Gator Swamp country. It's Bassmaster bass fishing history down here at Lake Okeechobee. So many great memories have happened in this epicenter of bass fishing. When I think about it, I'm thinking about Ish Monroe dropping a century belt. I'm thinking about, you know, Bradley Hallman flipping up some damn pigs in FLW. I'm thinking about Chris Jones on stage saying,
"Get to see some big old Lake Okeechobee bass."
Big old Lake Okeechobee bass! I'm thinking of all sorts of wonderful moments. And most recently here, of course, we got Tyler Rivette switching things up, forward-facing sonar up the Kissimmee River. And we're thinking about Scott Martin winning the Open here last year in January, similar time of the year. And now we're here at a time when it's hopefully going to be big bass galore. Last week at the St. Johns, we had a big weird cool down, cold front type thing with Florida strain bass where they were all confused. And now we're on a warming trend, at least a little bit of a warming trend. Mid-70s all, we've got some rain mixed in for practice. The biggest thing about Lake Okeechobee is it's effing massive. It is so big. And I've been here this many times. I was telling Cole on the way down here, I have followed every tournament that's been at this lake forever, for 20 years. I know everything about what happens at Lake Okeechobee, the baits, the colors, the locations, traditionally. And at the same time, I know nothing about Lake Okeechobee because I've not launched my boat on Lake Okeechobee. I have no semblance of an idea of how big this place is, how long it takes to get around, how to even get around. There's the rim canal around the outside. There's the canal on the inside of the levee. And of course, there's the main lake. But there's hundreds of thousands of acres of open water, tens of thousands of acres of grass. And as we know it here as bass fishermen, there is massive habitat destruction, restoration, issues with salt water and everything that's going on with that, with the lake being higher and then lower and then all sorts of confusion. But what it leads us to is a Bassmaster Elite Series tournament that very likely is going to be mini century belts will be possible. It might take 80 pounds to win. It might take 130 pounds to win. We really don't know at this point. But what we do know is we're gonna need tied on what I got tied on right here, and that is big freaking line on big rods because we're gonna be pulling back on biggins and heavy cover. Yeah, that. Let's talk about how we're gonna break this lake down. So first off, I don't know how I'm gonna break this lake down. There is so many areas where I'm not even gonna be able to even think about going because I don't have time. I have 3 days to practice here. It's kind of lately, it's been known as 2 kind of main bites. One is there's going to be a bite that has to do with spawning fish that are going to be in some phase of the spawn in the traditional areas where, of course, you're gonna have spawning bays. So Lake Okeechobee is not a deep lake. And sorry, we have mosquitoes freaking trying to gnaw our freaking lives apart right now. But there's coves off of Lake Okeechobee when you look at them on the map that don't really look like much, but you got to treat this lake because it's so big, as you know, these coves are going to be just like main lake coves off of, you know, reservoirs, man-made lakes. And when you look at these areas, we're going to talk about, you know, spawning fish that are going to spawn on the predominant type of cover, which is reed heads, whether that be big isolated dead reed clumps, whether that be a hard edge of reeds, whether that be kind of sparse openness, whatever it may be. It's gonna be reeds, it's gonna be a little bit of lily pads mixed in, but those fish are going to be funneling in and funneling out and staying in and making beds in these areas. Does that mean we're gonna catch them, you know, catching them on the way in, catching them on the way out, whether that be fishing a jerkbait, whether it be fishing a frog, a topwater? Does that mean we're gonna be fishing by flipping in this heavy cover, you know, flipping into beds, using perspective mode on our live scope? We don't freaking know. Probably all those things could be happening. And it's gonna be happening in tens of thousands of acres. And the one thing Florida is known for, of course, is if you're not around 792 competitors, you're probably not around the fish, because these fish, even though the lakes are massive, this lake is so big, it's huge. It's going to condense people into really small areas, and we're going to be picking apart little tiny areas together. It seems like everybody's pretty professional in the Elite Series for the most part. Hopefully that works out, and so everyone can fish a lot of what they want to. The second pattern is something that's been exposed a little bit more with forward-facing sonar, and that is the bite that happens in the rim canal. And that's not just a forward-facing sonar thing. Of course, there's a Toyota Series 1 here actually, by someone actually fishing for fish spawning, not using forward facing, but just on the rocks, on the spawn habitat, any hard cover. But there's also going to be, you know, some deeper canals. We actually got one right back there behind us where our RV camp is, where there could be fish on bait, there could be fish just staged on hard stuff, whether that be, you know, rock piles, a little bit of current, because there's locks all over the lakes. Who knows what it's gonna frickin' be? It's gonna take a lot of me moving around quickly in practice to figure out where the populations of fish are. And then once we get comfortable, a lot of guys talked about this at St. John's River, but it's so much more even magnified here, is if you pick up that trolling motor more than a couple times a day, you're probably screwed. You need to put that sumbitch down, go slow, and then go slower than that. Foot by foot, inch by inch, break this body of water down. It's not something we're gonna be able to do in practice. This is our first time here. We're gonna have to cover water to figure out what type of zones inside of the coves, inside of the areas of lake these fish live in. But once we figure that out in the tournament, we need to break it down even further and go really slow and methodically. So let me show you what I got tied on to kind of break that down. So let's talk about main lake stuff. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. I'd be lying if I told you, hey, I'm going out, you know, tomorrow I'm gonna break down this area, this area, this area. I need to sleep on it. I need to figure out what I'm doing. But here's a couple baits that are gonna be absolutely key in me covering freaking water and finding these fish. Lake Okeechobee, as of late, is known as habitat degradation caused by rising water levels, causing more turbidity in the water, dirtier water. So when that happens, of course, we're thinking, you know, baits that cause more of a disturbance, black and blue type baits, which are already very popular. So this is one bait that's gonna be absolutely key to me. It's a homemade chatterbait that I made myself. You know, it's a lighter one because we're fishing shallower water. I made this one up 1/4 ounce, but still has a normal size blade. I matted it out. As you can see, I did some special stuff with the skirt. We got a 3/8 Divine swim bait, black and blue on the back. You guys have seen that. It's nothing freaking crazy. It's what I throw when the water's dirty. That is my dirty water guide. It moves a little bit more water than just throwing something that's gonna, you know, hunt a little bit more. We want that paddle tail to cause some disturbance. Another guy right here, 6 cent swim jig. This is a Tackle Warehouse exclusive color actually. It's only a 3/8 ounce, and you might notice something special on the back of this. We got a big sombitch kicker back there. And like I said, the water's a little bit dirty. We have a natural color, which mimics a lot of the main forage in this lake, which is a golden shiner or a bluegill. And I put this 5-inch sombitch Divine swim bait on the back. That's not 5 inches worth of it though. That's just a small portion. I cut off this much of it in the front because I like that big paddle kicking tail. It's gonna cause this whole bait to rock and wobble really, really hard, which is gonna displace more water and allow fish in dirtier water to see it a lot better. Also has a lot more bulge up there. Cole is a huge fan of the bulge, and that's what this guy has right here. Causes more flare in that skirt, displaces more water. Yahtzee. That's what we freaking want right there. Talk about a couple more baits that we're gonna be able to cover some water with. Absolutely a key bait is going to be a topwater frog. No shocker there. The fish are in, 3 feet of water or less. They're around grass cover. You're gonna throw a frog. I got a Vega tied up. It's a popping frog. It's gonna draw fish from a further distance than a pointed nose frog. And again, we did some modification with a little bit of a flashy fuzz there. That's my favorite pressured fish color, which is hazelnut. Yahtzee. Nothing too crazy there that you guys are not expecting. Another bait that we're gonna be able to cover water with right here that's an absolute killer, the Judge Swimming Worm Cricket. Yes, Swimming Worm Cricket is how it's listed on the website. I put on this little 6 cents lockdown hook that's a 6/0 size, should be absolutely perfect. Real light. That's actually a funny cool. This is the first time I've used a lead weight in a long time. That's a little lead weight that is actually bigger because I want it to be bigger so it can displace the weed cover around the outside but not weigh very much. So it just fits the nose of that Judge worm really, really well. This thing is effing money. It's so good. It catches fish so good. Everyone knows about swimming worms down here in Florida. This guy's gonna be a killer for us. And we're flat out, we're gonna chunk and wine this sumbitch. We're not gonna do anything crazy with it other than try to find some damn fish that want to eat right now and doop, put the waypoint in, moving on, gridding out these areas to try to find these fish. Now, when we're slowing down a little bit, we got some fish dialed in. We got them figured out a little bit, and we want to pick that cover apart and see what really lives there. We got a couple different setups. So, of course, we got the same setup I used at the St. Johns River. I retied this 0 times. It's ready to freaking go. It's got a Congo crawl when we find one locked down on bed. That guy's gonna get her pissed off right there. No big deal, Yahtzee. Big size clout. Absolute staple in Florida. Stickworm, 6-inch size, gonna get a bigger bite. Black and blue tip. We got June bug ones rigged up, ready to go. NBD. We'll flip this guy in. That's a 16th ounce head, I believe. Head weight. Peg down. Weird thing, but it settles really, really nice, especially into some of these areas. And we're gonna be looking for a lot of harder bottom because these fish can't spawn in a lot of this mushy, shitty bottom. We're gonna have to really cover water to find hard bottom. And speaking of hard bottom, something that's gonna find that quicker and easier, even though it might not be the best thing to throw at times, is gonna be this big 1.5 ounce weight. I actually created my own punch skirt with this thing with a little 6-cent skirt. And we got a Pronica Lewinsky back there on the back of it. We frickin' drop this thing down in a reed head and this thing plows through some cover. I mean, you're not gonna come back with anything that's gonna be small and scared. We're gonna come back with mama right there. So I like that right there. And then of course, we got the little bitch ass rigs right here. We wanna go check out some crickets down here. There's big ones and all the rim canal and everything, like I said. So I don't know why I just said that about the bitch assness, but couple different rigs we're going to be using. Of course, we got the strobe shaker. This is the small size, actually, the 3-inch size. That guy's going to be, deadly little jig head minnow. That's what I throw right there. It flashes like a sumbitch. That's why it's called the strobe shaker. And then right here, Provoke 97 DD, Milliken's ghost color. Freaking, you can't get bit with that. You should probably put her on the trailer and go home because that sumbitch is ready to go. And I'm ready to go too, man. It's overwhelming. This place is effing massive and diverse and tough. You see the weights come in and I think it's going to be somewhere where you're like, wow, those are huge weights. And then you get out there and you're like, wow, I went out the entire first day and I got 3 bites and none of them even made any sense. It's going to be a lake that's really going to be a challenge for me to break down the amount of time that I have. So I'm going to just kind of do my own thing, try to have fun with it. And the biggest thing is I'm going to think very little of bites that are not 4 to 5 plus pounds. I'm not out here for points. I'm not out here to try to, get a check. We just need to freaking lock her in, head down, cover water, find populations of fish, and then the tournament, we can expand upon it. So without further ado, MFers, Let's go expand upon this shit and make something special happen. I'm excited. Let's go. A fish. I caught a fish. Unreal.
There's a lot of big ones in there, but then it's crazy how much faster my boat floats in yours.
Yeah, it is. It's freaking
You're
rolling.
looking on the trolling motor.
I'm probably like bottomed out too though, so there's that. What's that? Yeah, maybe I'll go drag a Nico rig on the boat ramp or something. Alright, dude. Yeah, we'll see. He's with FWC. Yeah. Morning MFers, welcome out day number 3, Lake Okeechobee. Talked about all the cool historical stuff that's happened at this lake and all the great memories, and then went out the last 2 days of practice. Cole stayed and edited some of the St. John's tournament stuff, and I don't have much to show for it. I still have not caught a fucking Florida or a female here in Florida. You don't want to get invested in dock talk at all, and I've told myself this year I'm not going to, and I'm really not, but it sounds like it's been crazy tough for everyone. It's hard to really explain and fathom what it looks like here, but the water is super, super low. They've dropped it, and so we're in between moons. The water, which doesn't matter that much, it's Florida and it's spawn time of the year, there's gonna be fish in and around bed all the time, but they've dropped the water, and like I was telling Cole, it's super, super muddy almost everywhere, unless you go way, way back in the backwater. And I'm talking like the good stuff on the main lake is like 6 inches of visibility, and the bad stuff is like 2 inches of visibility. It's that freaking dirty. And you gotta go like a quarter mile or a half mile before you can even put your boat on plane, like in a foot and a half, foot and 3/4 of water from the bank. So it hasn't been good. This is the other dynamic that could play. We're in a little backwater canal right now, and I'm trying to just cover water and swim jig and frog through here and flip. We got to run over the service area in a little bit here because getting in and out of these backwaters, I have destroyed a prop pretty bad. I got to go buy a new one, and they want to make sure my prop shaft is good and everything too. And my live scope transducer is broken too, even though I didn't actually hit that on anything. That's been causing me issues since I put it on. It's a brand new one. So, fun times. We have one more day. This is day 3. Luckily, we don't have to be off the water anytime. There's no meetings anymore for regular Elite Series tournaments. So you pretty much, you stay on at your own peril with how much time you want to give yourself to retie and get your mind right and game plan together. And right now, the focus is definitely going to be a lot more on finding fish than having my head right for tomorrow, because I don't have any type of great plan at this point. Of course, first cast of the swim jig, had a big one come up and roll on it, and hadn't had a damn bite in 700 casts since. Florida. How deep is it? Sand. Yep. How'd you catch him? Oh, cheddar bait in the lily pads.
All right, do something cool. Do something cool.
I don't have the ability to do that. You should know this.
Hold on. The lighting's really good right now, so just make a couple more casts and then I'll say it.
Snag. There's receipts taken.
What do you think of this awful place?
Dude, I've never fucking been to this lake before.
Oh, dude, it's the worst I've ever seen.
That's what everyone says every
I put
tournament.
In 7 times yesterday, and I caught like 2 bass. And dude, they'll catch 30 pounds, and it's like
I know. That's
I'm
what
like
I'm
in
saying.
panic mode now. I'm like, I just need to find somewhere to get 5 keepers so I don't get dead last.
Correct.
You know?
But that's like 10 people I've talked to.
Yeah, I mean, everybody I ran into yesterday. Everybody will be in a group somewhere.
Yeah.
I have no idea where that's gonna be.
Yeah.
I'm worried it's South Bay. I just kind of rode off the lower end, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
But like,
I think South Bay's got them, but
did you go down there?
I did the first day, and I didn't catch them, but I know a couple guys caught a few.
Yeah, that sucks. It just, I mean, dude, it's like, last time I crossed the lake, I said I'll never cross it again.
Yeah.
Now it's like, God, it might really screw me.
Dude, for sure. Well, I feel like they were calling for like strong north winds and ahead of time, and so I was like, that's good luck up there.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Zark was like, I only called him last night. Pencil reeds, buggy whips, reeds, toolies. I was fucking in there, and dude, there's just like all this blowing up on minnows going, and the banks, it's not this grass, but it doesn't look much different than that. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I started throwing, I put that weightless fluke on, and I got bit like every cast. And dude, I don't think I caught a 10-incher.
go?
I think it's back right up there.
Lost him. Poor guy. I was gonna say, I felt a freaking bump a second ago. Never had him. That was a little keeper at least. I don't know how we're gonna get on the big engine either. It's not taking any water in. Can't tell why. Backwards or something. Too. Definitely not the same fish either.
Right when I zoomed out.
Gulp. It's a keeper. Had a couple slapping at a bigger frog, so I switched to the 6 Sense Hush Frog, little bluegill guy. So much more activity right here. Because if guys were catching them there and it was going down in there,
They wouldn't be there.
open. The juice. Thanks, Cole.
We caught a fish in like 6 months.
Was that subtle?